People want an answer to this particular question. What is red tagging? Let's be clear, red tagging is a very real thing with a long and bloody history. The Philippines was the testing ground in some ways for McCarthyism. The House Committee on Un-Philippine Activities and then the Committee on Anti-Philippine Activities, because communism is not only un-American, it's un-Filipino, was a very real thing. And red tagging was a question of saying, well, this activist, this student leader, and so on and so forth, you don't know it, but they're secretly a communist. And to be a communist was a criminal offense. You could be imprisoned for years. To be a communist leader could see you subjected to the death penalty. And thus red tagging was a right-wing strategy of attempting to dismiss political opposition, employing the reactionary criminalization of the Communist Party as a means of dismissing them, imprisoning them, persecuting them, or simply threatening them enough that they were terrified into keeping silent. So red tagging is a very real thing. But at the same time, the way in which CSUN has used it repeatedly is not in service to the defense of young people, activists, and workers, but to hide his own political culpability. The allegation of red tagging is used to hide what is a most transparent political reality, that the National Democratic Movement follows a common political line with the CPP. Now, I have explicitly stated, I do not know, nor do I care who is or is not a member of the Communist Party, and if I did know, I would not disclose it. But at the same time, it is the worst kept secret in Philippine political history that these organizations share a common political line with the CPP. That political line is an orientation, the progressive section of the capitalist class, and then alliance with them. And they always wind up allying with the same people. Everyone knows this. And no one is protected by denouncing someone for red tagging who brings this to the fore. It's not as if the Philippine military was ignoring these activists and then they read my 1,000-page doctoral dissertation and they say, oh my God, they follow a common political line, and then they begin persecuting activists. To make the claim is absurd. No, what is engaged in this is to hide the fact that the party is behind every single one of these rotten alliances. And it's impossible to speak of it, because you're told that to speak of the fact that the party supported Duterte endangers activists. And I'm one of the very first people to stare this down and say, no, I am not engaged in red tagging. I am intent on exposing the historical role played by the party. And what is more, my scholarship is not endangering activists, it is protecting them by documenting the history of the role that you played. And the figure that is most responsible for endangering the activists outside of the state and the military itself is Joma Sison and the leadership of the CPP, who endorsed and supported Rodrigo Duterte, made possible his rise to power, and the criminal attacks that he is currently carrying out.